Stephen, thanks so much for coming on the Witch Wavelength. I've been really looking forward to this.
Oh, thank you very much for having me on. It was brilliant to meet you in Ireland, and you were kind of telling me all about the show. And it was really good. So thank you for inviting me on.
No, I love having all guests that come onto our show, but it seems to me that the last few guests, they've all been authors. I wonder why. But you know, I love talking to anybody really, but especially to other writers, and especially if they're writing about something magical. You know, that is all that's required, really, because when I asked you in Ireland if you wanted to come on the podcast, and you said, "I'm not a witch," and I said,
well, that's what I was thinking. I'm thinking, oh no, I'm not a witch, but I'm not a practicing witch. So I'll better tell her that straight away.
Nobody.
Because I was looking into Wiccan, kind of the practice, the path of Wiccan. This must have been about 25 years ago as well, or even longer. And I thought, if I was going to follow any kind of path, it would be the Buddhist path or the Wiccan path. Right. So the pagan path or whatever way you call it. So it would have been that path. So I did look into it. I looked at the kind of books by Stuart and Janet Farrar, kind of all the kind of philosophical ones and the kind of witchy ones as well. Really loved it. So I would consider, if I was going to follow any path, I'd be a witch at heart, I would say.
Yeah, I'm certain that you are, because I've just started reading your first book, and and listening to some of your interviews already, where you were talking about what your personal experiences in this kind of spiritual field or supernatural field, and then you've got your main character in that first book. I just see that as a younger version of you.
It is, Julie, I have to be honest. But I think every writer does that. I mean, in your books as well, you must have, it's really a character version of you, is it?
Oh, definitely. In my Witchlit series, which is my first fiction series, yes, it's about a crazy menopausal witch and her ridiculous antics to snare the local guitar playing vicar. And I wrote it when I was going through that horrible midlife crisis that some women do, you know, and it was my remedy. It was my healing process, to be honestly. And it was semi-autobiographical, because it was the easiest thing for me to write, and I had so much fun doing it. And I stopped writing that series after 3 books, but I'm itching to get back to it, because I think that there's great sort of calling for that kind of thing out in the reader space.
Yep,
you know. But anyway, back to you and your calling in the witchy book space. I'm really interested to know why you chose the Witches of Scotland. What was it about the Witches of Scotland that, I mean, I know you're from Scotland, you're Scottish, and you know, but why did you choose, why witches?
Witches, first of all, because I'll tell you this kind of weird story. So when I was younger, I had recurring nightmares. And we're talking when I was 5-6 years old. And it was always when I put my pillow on the head, somebody would grab my hair from behind and pull my hair. It was terrifying. It was kind of nightmares, but it was a witch. And ever since then, I kind of looked up witches and kind of, I was just interested in witches and why I was having that dream and stuff like that. And I think that's where it really stemmed from. But then kind of big films came on board as well, like Practical Magic. I love kind of Alice Hoffman books, you know, they love them. Just stuff like that, because I think it's almost within the realm of possibility, but nobody believes it, but it's still within the realm of possibility. And I was thinking, if I could write a book that was set in Scotland to promote Scotland, because I love Scotland and I love promoting Scotland, if I could write a book that was set in Glasgow and Edinburgh, promote those places, promote Scotland, but make it magical and urban fantasy, but also set it 2 years in the future so I could make predictions about what might happen in the future. I don't know if you knew about that. Yeah,
I think that's a wild idea, but I think that's great. Because do you know what? In witchcraft, there is a particular practice called the hypersigil. And the hypersigil, basically, it's a practice whereby you write down, you imagine where you want to be in the future, what you want to be, it's goal orientated or intention orientated to manifest what you want in some time in the future. And you write it down, you visualize it, you immerse yourself in the whole of that energy of it, and you write yourself, you keep doing that. And I've got like a whole 28-day sort of technique where you just keep going over and over and over, and it's called a hypersigil. And you kind of combine it with ritual, you light your candles, you get the crystals in, you get your tarot cards set up, or whatever floats your boat, basically, in a ritualized setting. And you create that magic right from the start, and it, it's amazing. It works. But when I when I listened to you talking about that in some interview, I thought that's a magical practice he's doing.
I didn't realize there's a name for it. I've been practicing literally for 30 odd years, and I read the book Think and Grow Rich, and it was,
I love that book.
It was a brilliant book. And another book by Shakti Gawain called Creative Visualization, and I don't know if you've read that. It's a brown wee book. I don't know if it's still in print, but it was an amazing book. Loved it, and I practiced creative visualization from then, and basically it was manifestation. I didn't realize it was called that at the time, but I've literally been practicing it for, it must be 35 years, because the book Think and Grow Rich, I was 18 years old, about 18, 19, and I was kind of in a bookshop, secondhand bookshop. I reached up for a book on a kind of higher shelf, and the book I reached for wasn't the one that kind of, it fell down. One of the other ones fell down on top of my head, bumped my head and on the floor. So I picked it up, ready to put it back on the shelf, and it was the old book Think and Grow Rich, a really old one from the 1960s. I thought it must be meant, so I'm going to buy it. So I bought it, read it on the bus home, not all of it, but I thought, oh, this is amazing. And ever since then, that's what got me into self-help and manifestation and setting your goals. And I can do it. And I used to practice with kind of rituals. So it was like kind of witchcraft as well, with rituals, candles, crystals and stuff like that. And now I can just think it. I honestly think that I can manifest things just by thinking about them and just setting the intention, because I'm so well versed in it just now.
Yeah. I totally get that. And that's amazing, because I was really obsessed with the book Think and Grow Rich for a couple of years. And I kind of read it a couple of times and studied it. And I still go back to it. I still refer back to it. It's on my shelf over there, and I love it. I love that book. It's a little bit outdated now, and there are many more books now that have been more updated in their sort of delivery of that kind of concept. It's the same concept, what we think about, we can become. We just have to change our thoughts based on our belief system, and our beliefs create our experiences.
Oh, totally.
And as you know, because I know you've written about it, So, and yes, it does become part of it really becomes part of our psyche, doesn't it?
Have you seen, I don't know if you've read these books, Genevieve Davis? She does.
I've read a couple of them. I've got a couple of them on my Kindle. Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah, they're good.
Really, that's the books, again, very, very short. They're less than 100 pages, much less than that. Yeah. But the narrator for that in the audiobook, she is amazing. So I've listened to the books. She's got 4 of them. She's actually an actress. She came out, I think, last year, but I can't remember who it was, the actress's name. So that's her kind of pen name. But the books are brilliant for anybody looking to get into manifestation. And it just cemented more what I'd been doing in my own life. So I think,
and they're very
all a belief.
They're very basic, aren't they? Very stripped back. Like there's no ritualization about it, which is fine. Let's just talk about what I want to ask you about also is your lucid dreaming, because that was really interesting to me. Because astral traveling is something else that I used to read up a lot about when I was younger. And I think I might have tried it a few times, but I never really took it any further. So tell me about your experience with lucid dreaming and why, silly question really, but why you brought that into your books.
Well, because I practiced lucid dreaming. So back in 1990s, I think it was 93, 94, I bought this book by a guy called Steven, he's a scientist, Stephen LaBerge. He's a Canadian scientist, and he wrote a book called Lucid Dreaming, something Lucid Dreaming. Brilliant, brilliant book. So I read it all covered because I was so interested on the underground, going into work and stuff like that. And I just got so interested in it. And I wanted to practice lucid dreaming. So I thought, I wonder if you can really do this, because he was advocating it. So I practiced for 30 days. And after about 15 days, I had my first lucid dream. And it was unbelievable. It was better than drugs. It was just amazing to have your first lucid dream. So I was kind of walking about in Glasgow, and I jumped over this puddle, and I realised that I'd stayed in the air too long within my dream. And I thought, I'm lucid dreaming. This is a lucid dream. So you become conscious within your own dream, and you can start directing it. So I kind of started flying. I kind of done the dream spinning. I don't know if you've actually practiced lucid dreaming, but there's a technique called dream spinning to stay within the lucid dream. So I was dream spinning, flew up into the air, and I was flying all over Glasgow. And then I just got too excited, and I came out of the lucid dream. Once your kind of heart rate goes up, you're out of the dream. So, and I practiced it from there for about 3 months after it, I think. And I thought, it was just amazing. And I just thought about, that's what gave me the idea for the Witches of Scotland all those years ago. So I thought this would be a brilliant story, and I tried to write it from there. But after that, I read another book called Astrodynamics by a guy called Robert Bruce. Have you read it yet?
No, I haven't. No,
well,
no.
I thought when you laughed there, I thought, have you read it? You've read all the same books.
No, it's just amazing how you're. Yeah, go on.
It's a big tome of a book, Astrodynamics, and I read that, and I've read it. Oh, it's just multiple times. It's very, very detailed, very intricate, and I couldn't quite get the astral projection. I think I'd done it once or twice, but it's one of those times where you think, did I really do it? But at the time, I thought, astral projected. I got outside my body, and it's just we don't know the brain, we don't know the soul, we don't know so much about ourselves. So I got that interest in it that I thought, I'm going to do a degree in psychology. So that's what I did. I went to university, got my degree in psychology, just because I wanted to, and because I didn't believe in the past that I could. So I've done it, got the degree, and it just ever since then, just everything about the mind, the soul, magic, I would say manifestation. I just love it, and I just 100% believe in it. If somebody says, you're a nutter, why do you believe in all that stuff? Because I know it works. I don't need you to believe it. I believe it, and I know it works. So it's just, that's how I got into lucid dreaming. That's where the Witches of Scotland originally came from.
Amazing, amazing. And that's another similarity between us, because I love psychology as well. Not that I've ever really studied it, but I suppose the study of the mind.
Psychology,
I love people. I love finding out what makes people tick. I'm fascinated by the workings of the mind. You've had numerous sort of vocations, haven't you, along the way from doing that sort of degree? I mean, you've been. I know you've. Tell me about that, because that's all important. Your backstory is.
Yeah, I think so. I've done a degree in psychology. Well, I first started. I came over to Glasgow from Fife, where I stayed in Fife. And I came over to Glasgow to do nursing. So I was going to be a mental health nurse. But being honest, after 18 months or something, I was partying too much, because it was like a college life. It was like uni life and nursing. So I was partying too much, and I thought, it's not for me. So I went to uni, done a degree in psychology. And after that, kind of done business at BT, British Telecommunications, just for the money. But I knew my calling was to kind of help others, which a lot of people say, but it really was. So I went into kind of helping the homeless people, became a kind of support worker, and then an alcohol addictions worker as well. So I've done that for years, but always was entrepreneurial. I was always thinking about these harebrained schemes to start my own business and stuff like that. And my wife she comes along for the ride on every single thing that I do, but they started to work when I was really practicing this manifestation. So I left my work in 2013 to set up a site called guidedmind.com. And I written and recorded and done videos for 140 guided meditations, with the help of a business partner who was really doing the back end stuff, or they were doing it. So I've done that for a couple of years, and that got my own business. I've left kind of my work in that. That was brilliant. And we sold the site, and I got 8 Bitcoin for the site. So I said, don't pay me in pounds, just give me in Bitcoin. So I got 8 Bitcoin for that. And that's what got me on the path of kind of trading cryptocurrency. But before that, I was doing social media because my Facebook page was blowing up and everybody was saying, how are you doing it? How are you doing it? So I started a kind of business teaching people how to do that. And I was doing seminars over in kind of San Diego and kind of places like that. So I'd done that for about 3 or 4 years. And then the cryptocurrency really took off, made a lot of money from that. I was teaching others how to do that as well. But I always wanted to be a kind of writer. And I thought, okay, when I'm 65, that's when I'll stop all this business stuff and I'll become a writer. But after 4 years of doing the crypto, I was kind of going downhill a wee bit. I'd made my money, cashed out, went into property. Me and my wife done property, made a lot of money from that as well. And I was thinking, okay, what's the next thing I want to do? And I thought, okay, I'm going to do the writing. I'm just going to go for it. And that was 2021. And I've never looked back since.
Wow. Wow. So it's interesting to hear that when you did your guided meditation, was that your like personal development business? Yeah,
that was because I had a blog at the time as well that I've been doing since 2006. Been writing before. I've written 1,000 articles on personal development. So that's still going, but I don't really write anymore. But yeah, that was all kind of from that as well.
Because those guided meditations, I mean, you're kind of reaffirming, really. Totally. I would imagine with your guided meditations, and you were writing them and producing them, presumably, you were reaffirming your beliefs all the time.
100%. 100%.
And I don't know whether you're like me, but I find that, we teach best what we need to learn, don't we?
Exactly.
So I love teaching, even if it's something, if I find out something new, I love then doing a workshop on it, because A, I want to share that with others, but B, I know that I'm going to get better if I teach that subject.
Exactly. Because you have to, because I thought when I was doing the authorship stuff, I said to myself, I'm not going to do any teaching. I'll just do this for myself because I love it. Now we've gone to teaching. I've got a newsletter now that I do £5 per month for authors. But it's the same kind of thing. I thought I'll just make it as cheap as possible just because I love the teaching. So I do that. And it always happens that I teach it. But you're right, Sheena, because I think when you have to teach something, you have to research it, because you say, right, I'm going to teach this week. And you have to research it and you get better and better and better. Yeah. And that's how you get better as a teacher.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've seen your Substack newsletter. How's that going?
Yeah, it's going okay. I think we've got 68 subscribers, which is okay. Just still 3 or 4 grand a year from a business point of view. But I just love doing it. There's loads of stuff that I want to learn as well. So I have to research. And when I find something that works, I can pass it on and get paid for it at the same time. But
absolutely,
I'm still doing TikTok for free. So I've got a TikTok channel as well that I just teach indie stuff for indie authors. So love that as well.
I know. I love your TikTok channel, because obviously I'm on TikTok, and you were the one that I approached on TikTok because I saw on your bio profile that you were recommending particular courses, and you recommended me to Lana Kearney, didn't you?
She's brilliant. Yeah.
She is brilliant, and I've joined her content club, and I love her live masterclasses. Yeah, and she often talks about you. She often brings you up and says, as an example of somebody who is educating, but also is doing what they love. And you obviously you're a writer as well, you're an author, so you've got your Witches of Scotland books that you're promoting, and the way that you're doing it is I'm enjoying that, because I'm still new to the platform and trying to figure out my way of gaining followers and building a readership, really. And I think that probably the problem that I'm having is that I'm scattering myself too much, because I've got non-fiction and fiction, and my non-fiction is the stuff that I live my life by, and teach and everything. So of course I'm going to want to talk about that, but then I think, well, hang on a minute though, I better mention my fiction. And and maybe the algorithm is a bit confused and probably having a bit of a meltdown every time I come on and do something. I'm doing something
of the two, is it not? So your non-fiction stuff will be kind of related to your fiction stuff as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So you're better going down the path of non-fiction, but you can do the fiction as well. You can talk about it, but once you get people into the non-fiction side of it, you say, by the way, I've got these kind of books as well and fiction stuff. So people want to know more about the non-fiction stuff rather than kind of fiction, because there's not a lot of readers, but there's a lot of people who want to learn. So you could do both and marry the two together. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a way of doing that, Stephen. That's kind of what I'm trying to do, because otherwise I would just get not bored talking about the fiction, because I write in different genres. I've got like a Celtic fantasy book series that I've just started. I'm editing book 2 at the moment. I've got a witchy, witch romantic comedy series. So they're different genres actually, but I do love my non-fiction as well, because it's very reflective of my life, how I live my life. So I like to talk about it. Anyway, we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you. I know, and I've made a little mental note. I'm going to join your Substack, because I think that's going to be a good thing to do. So what else have I got on my list? The Power of Belief. Now, I've just ordered that book on my Kindle. So that will be added to all my other beliefs and that kind of field. So, and I haven't read it yet, so I've only just downloaded it this morning because I thought I've got to have that. So what do you think? Because obviously I'm sure that we both agree on the fact that our beliefs do create our experiences, and they are fundamental, aren't they? Our mindset is fundamental to the way that success shows up in our lives on any level. Yeah. So
I think what it really starts from, if we think about it, most of it, and a lot of people don't realize this, most of our beliefs are formed by the age of 7 years old.
Yeah.
So by the age of 7 years old, you kind of can tell what a person's going to be like when they're 57 years old. In 50 years' time, you go, that's not possible. How is that? And this is psychologically true. It's because when you're younger, your formative year, you've got different patterns of brainwaves. So your brainwave mostly kind of just now, we're in the beta brainwave kind of pattern, whereby we're always thinking about, you might be thinking about your shopping list just now, or where is Ian just now, or what's my next kind of chapter going to be in the next book. You're thinking about lots of different things, even though you're in the here and now. But children, the sponges are picking up everything. So they're in the kind of alpha, kind of theta brainwave state. Yeah. So this is why they soak up everything so much and remember it as well, because they're in a different brainwave state. So by the age of 7 years old, we're starting to kind of change our brainwave states. This is when we're getting older. But a lot of our beliefs are formed then through our parents, our teachers, our kind of siblings as well, just everybody around about us. And we keep those same beliefs for years and years and years. Money beliefs, relationship beliefs, everything. They're really important to us. But people think, this is just who I am. That's a lot of shite. It's not who you are, because you can change your belief. You can literally pick a belief that you want to believe and start to change what you believe about yourself. So I'll give you a very quick example, Sheena. When I was younger, I always thought I was thick. I really thought I just wasn't intelligent at all. So we called it thick when we were at school. And lots of people called me thick, and I was bullied when I was younger. I'm not saying poor me, but just a fact. And I had a hearing disability when I was younger, and I couldn't hear the teachers when they were talking, but nobody realised until I was about 7 years old. So my mum was behind me, we were getting a photograph taken, and she whispered something in my ear, and I didn't respond. So she done it again, still didn't respond. And then she kind of pulled me around and said, "Can you hear me?" I said, "Yeah." And then she realised I was deaf in one ear. So they realised I had to get grommets put in my ear because I had something called glue ear. That was when I was younger. And when I was trying to learn in class, I couldn't hear the teacher properly. So I was getting reports of not being kind of that intelligent, and I might have to go to a special school. But I never let on to anybody that I couldn't really hear, because I didn't really know at the time. So that belief, once my hearing was fixed, fine. There's no problem after that. But that belief stayed with me until I was about 14, 15 years old. And I was walking home from school one day, and I just passed my history exam. I got an A in history. I thought, I was really elated, and I thought, hang on a minute, I can't be that thick if I got an A in history. And it was a pivotal moment in my life that realizing that belief that I was thick all those years, I wasn't intelligent and I always revered intelligent people, it just turned around in a minute. And ever since then, this is why I got interested in psychology as well. Ever since then, I thought, I wonder what other beliefs I could change. And that book was kind of percolating in my head for years and years and years, and it had to come out. So it was all about how you can change your beliefs. From even if you have 50-year-old beliefs, you can still change your beliefs. And it's about looking for evidence of the new belief that you want to change into. So there's loads of nuances to it, but it was so exciting to me that anybody could change their beliefs.
So what beliefs are you currently working on? I'm interested. Are you working on anything at the moment?
Honestly, I genuinely mean this. I am so happy in life that I've got a beautiful wife, a beautiful life. We've got a brilliant relationship. We've got 3 grandkids.
Yeah, you're a family man, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I literally have everything that I've asked for from the universe, and I've got it. And I'm still asking for wee bits, but it's just bonuses. If I don't get it, it's not going to change. It's not going to change anything. But beliefs, I honestly don't. I think I'm nearly there. I've not reached enlightenment stage. Obviously, nobody does, because you've always got something new to learn. But I'm very close to being the man I'm going to ever be, I think.
Oh, that's really lovely to hear. Really lovely. What can you remember when you were like at the beginning of your writing? Let's focus on the writing a bit more.
Yeah.
When you started writing books, what were the main sort of belief structure that you kind of formed your author career out of, really? What were you, because it's a tough one, isn't it, Stephen? This
really is.
indie author pathway is not an easy one.
No, it's really not at all. And I think it is a calling. It definitely is a calling, because you've got, and I would imagine you'd be the same. You've got something, a story inside you, and you go, oh, that's nice. That'd be a good story. But then a year later, that story's still in your head, and it's just kind of grown arms and legs. And 2 years later, still there, you thought, right, I have to get it out. It has to come out of my head. It's living there rent-free, get it on paper. So even the hard part of writing a book is probably the hardest thing, one of the hardest things you can do from a kind of discipline point of view, and from the point of view that you don't know if it's going to go anywhere, so you don't know if it's going to be worthwhile. So I think it's creating that belief that you can finish a book, first of all. So that's a big one.
Yeah.
Can I write a book?
One.
It's huge. Because most people, they say, oh, I'd love to write a book. Just write one. Now it's, for me, it's just, why don't you write one? Oh, I could never write one. And so it's about that belief of writing a book. Once you've written one, you can write 100. But it's just getting that first one in. So that's the first big belief to overcome. And then it's, oh, this is shite. This is no good. It's not a good book. The story's crap. So it's getting over that belief. So once you learn story structure, once you learn what makes a story, then it changes again. So it's a constant evolution of being a writer. And then you're writing, as you see, from book 1 in my first series to book 8, and that last book in the series, the writing is so much different because I've gone better with each book. So I think is that even just first believing that you can actually write a book is a big thing.
Yeah, so true, so true. And then that with the practice, like as you say, it gets easier, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm on my 7th book at the moment, I suppose, which for me is quite good, really. And I'm editing it at the moment. And I remember thinking last year when I wrote the first draft, oh my God, I had so many moments when I thought, this is shit. You know, it's just going nowhere. What am I doing with this character? What are they doing? And I remember feeling like that for quite a while. And, you know, because that stops you writing, that slows you down, doesn't it? It really does slow you down. But now I've returned to that and I've got over it. Somehow I got over it and just thought, I've got to get to the end. I've just got to get to the end. I can sort it out in the second draft. You know, I can sort it out in the rewrite. And now I'm rewriting and I'm thinking, actually, this is not bad. This isn't as bad as I thought it was. So isn't it funny how our minds have changed, don't they? But when you've given something some distance, and you think, oh my God, at the time it all just felt like a jumbled puzzle, and now I'm beginning to think, actually it's not bad. And I can remember having the same experience with the Grail Maiden, the first book in the series, and possibly now I'm talking about it in every book that I've written, I've felt like that. So it's recognizing that is part of the process, I think, isn't it, really?
Well, I think I've done 23 books now. I'm in the 23rd one.
Wow, have you? 23? That's amazing.
But I still failed out on the 23rd book as well. And I got 3/4 of the way through and I thought, this is shit. It's not going in. But then, just like you say, you realise this is just part of the process. Every book you write, there's going to be a shit part of it. And then if you left it, I don't leave it, I just keep going. And I just do one draft and I'm done, and I send it to the proofreader. I don't want to do it again. Just one draft and I send it to the proofreader. So once you leave it for a wee bit and then you read back, sometimes, I don't know if you felt this, Sheena, but sometimes I go, that doesn't sound like me writing the book, because you're writing from a different level, if you know what I mean. I don't know if that makes sense. You're writing, the writing comes from somewhere, but you don't know where it's coming from. And I'm a discovery writer, so I just sit down and have a clue what I'm going to write from one day to the next. So, and sometimes you look back and go, where the hell did that come from? And it's really weird. You still think it's shit, but when you go back and read it, and like you say, actually, it's quite good. I'm quite proud of that. So yes, you still go through that process of imposter syndrome. This is shit, but once you know the system and know how you get through it, you just keep writing, and that's the way to do it.
This as well. So you've written 23 books. So hang on a minute. How many series have you got? Because you've got the Dream Dancer, Akashic Chronicles. I mean, that's 8 books, isn't it?
There's 8 books in that series. Then the second series, which is a follow-on from that, the main characters are working for a secret organisation called the Cerberus Syndicate. So it's like kind of the X-Files, kind of set in Edinburgh. So it's David and Jessica, and there's 8 books. I've just written the 8th book that I've sent off. So there's 8 books in that series, but there's going to be 20 to 25 books in that series. Then there's a 3rd series, which is a romance series. There's 7 books in that series, and that's about 7 witches discovering their own power. They've all got shops that have been left to them from the grandmothers, and the grandmothers had a coven, secret coven, and because their children were bound, that there was no more magic, but then the children of the children, they become witches. They discover they're actual witches who have magical powers. So it's all set in Glasgow, and the shops are named like the Magic Wick for somebody that owned a candle. So it's all that kind of stuff. So that's 7 books. I've just written the 8th book because I was meant to finish on the 7th book, but I put at the back of it, listen, if you want to, for this story to continue, let me know by sending me an email. And I got loads of emails, so I started writing the book again for the series. So I've got a second part of the series, which is going to be another 7 books. So that's the 3rd series. And the 4th series is going to be an origin series, like Yellowstone. Do you know Yellowstone, the TV series?
Yes, I like all the whole backstory. Like,
well, that's
1823. Oh, really?
So that's what I'm doing. So I'm going back to 60s. So the book is called Witches of Scotland, 1653. And this is where it all starts. So I'm going to go from 1653 all the way up. So there's still another, I'd say at least another 50 books in that universe, because they're all interlinked.
Yes.
So the romance kind of series coven, they know Dave and Jessica, or they find out about them. So they're all interlinked.
Wow. And is this something that you consciously thought about, you consciously planned, or is it something that, I know these things do evolve, don't they? But I mean, it sounds like, just listening to you talking about it, it sounds like a massive project that is just an amazing plan of action, and you're bringing it to life.
Well, the original plan was to do, so there's 8 cities in Scotland. So I was going to say the first series in Glasgow, second in Edinburgh, then it was going to be Dunfermline, Dundee. So there's going to be all the 8 cities of Scotland, and I was going to write 9 books in each of them, and that was going to be 72 books. And I thought, nah, I don't want to do that. I want to keep the same characters. So when I finished the first series, I thought, oh, we could just do a continuation and do it that way. And then 3rd series, I said, well, set it in the same time period. They know Aunt Jen, they know Dave and Jessica. as well, and just have a big, huge universe. So anything else I write is always going to be in that universe. So this is me for life.
But you have done so well to in the sharing of this, and I would imagine, I mean, yes, a good story is a given. You've got to have a good story. You've got to have, the magic's got to be there for people to keep wanting it and to keep reading the stories. But at the same time, as you know as well as I do, you can write the best book in the bloody world, but if nobody knows about it,
exactly.
So your marketing must be magical as well, I would say. I mean, I see you everywhere. You're in on all the socials, you know, and you're doing brilliantly in being discovered, in being visible, as much as you can. But how do you build your readership? How did you do it?
Okay, so I think if I just say it was somebody new coming in and they're just coming into the field, and I would say, okay, depends what type of author you're going to be. So most authors can be on Facebook. There's a lot of readers on Facebook. So the people that are left on Facebook, and there's millions or billions of them, that are mainly women between the ages of probably 35 to 65 plus. If your readership is in that demographic, you're golden. Literally golden, and your readership is, and most readerships are, because there's a lot of older guys on there as well. So if you're a crime writer, still go on Facebook. So if Facebook is a place to be, set up a Facebook page, an author page, not your profile, an author page specifically for your kind of work. Set up a Facebook group, again linked to your author page. You don't need to do too much with it just now, but set it up and start to funnel people into your Facebook group. And then you start doing stuff on your Facebook page, and any videos that you do on your Facebook page, post it over to Instagram, post it over to TikTok, post it over to YouTube Shorts. Even if you're not want to be big on there, it just seems as if you're everywhere, but you're not really. I've done one video and posted it to everywhere, and it seems as if I'm everywhere, and then I'll post it again and go, oh, nobody can remember it. So you can post it repeatedly, multiple times. So you keep doing that, and then you just start to advertise that. So use your Facebook page as a training ground. So if you post something that does brilliant organically, you get loads of comments, you get loads of social kind of likes and loves and shares, you go, oh, that'd be brilliant for an advert. And you use it as an advert. Because if people like it organically, they're going to like it as an ad as well. So you use your Facebook page, your author page, as a training ground for what you can use for advertising as well. So I done a video, and this is a true story, Sheena. I've done a video 3 years ago, and it was, it took me 27 years to write this book. Now I've written a series. I don't know if you've seen it.
I have seen it, yeah.
Oh, you've seen it. So that was the story. It took me 27 years, and that's had 8 million views on it since 2023. But I recognise it done so well organically. I thought I'm going to use it as an ad, and I've used it as an ad for 3 years. I'm still using it as an advert on Facebook, and it's
still using it.
Still using it. £200,000 that video is made.
That's amazing. I remember you were talking about that in Ireland in your presentation.
Yeah, that's right. That was a talk I did. Yeah, and that was one of the ones. And honestly, it's all about engagement. It's all about community. And if you can do that, you being yourself, the way you kind of talk on camera and stuff like that, you kill it, because you build up a community. And like Tracy Green has, and there's Heather G. Harris has done it as well. Iris Beaglehole has done it. You'll know all their names. Yeah. They've got a brilliant community. Lindsay Day, she's got a brilliant community as well. And she writes about all that kind of stuff as well. So just kind of watch what others are doing in your field, seeing how they're building up a community, not how they're doing the socials necessarily, but how they're building up a community and what they're doing with the Facebook page. Yeah. But focus on one thing, Facebook. That's your audience. Just focus on them. And it's going to be your audience, I would say, for the next at least 3 or 4 years. It's not going to go away anyway. The young ones are leaving. We don't care about the young ones. It's the older ones that are buying books, and the women in particular that are buying books. If that's your audience, brilliant. That's what I would say.
That is interesting, yeah. And it's, I mean, I've been on Facebook for a long time, you know, but I feel like I've just been dabbling around, really. I've got quite a few different pages. And I did used to have a Facebook group, but I think I need to reinstate a dedicated Facebook group for my books.
Definitely.
Really.
But in this day of kind of day and age of AI as well, it's even more important to show your face as an author and build up that community around you as well.
I agree.
Definitely. And your email list, obviously, your email list, secondary, I would say, but you have to think about very closely once you start building our community up, get your email list grown as well.
Yeah. And
once, as long as you realize that once you start to build up and you get momentum, that you have to use the advertising. You honestly do. You have to get into the advertising. And it is, a lot of people say, oh, I'm not good at advertising. As part of your business, you have to get good at advertising.
Yeah.
There's two sides to an author. There's the creative side of being an author, 20%. 80% is your marketing and advertising. And I know it should be the other way about. Honestly, it's not. 20% writing is the easy part. Now that we've done one book, writing becomes the easy part. 80% of it is going to be your marketing and advertising. There's different things, but you can market. And once you've got a brilliant post that does well compared to the others, use it for advertising. That's really all you need to do. But you keep trying ideas. But honestly, it's 20% writing, 80% marketing and advertising.
Yeah, I'm beginning to realise that. Yeah. I've got to a stage now where I think, I need to write that, and I'm looking at my writing and thinking, this is the easy bit, like you've just said. This is it almost feels like a meditation.
It does.
It's therapy. This is my therapy, writing. Is there a side of it that you actually prefer? How do you feel about that as a whole? What you've just described?
I love marketing and advertising. I love because you can learn to love it as a belief principle, a belief system whereby you go, I hate marketing, I hate advertising. If you learn to love it and see the creativity or see the creative side of it,
I know.
It's brilliant. It's amazing when you get into it and then you try all these experiments. I wonder if that would work. You don't care if it does or not. You just post it, see if it works, keep it up. If it does absolute shit, keep it up there. Don't delete anything, because it's your evolution as an advertiser and a marketer. And the writing is just like a break from the advertising and the marketing. It's a brilliant break, because I can write a book in 10 days now, so I can take all that time away, write the book, and then get back to marketing and advertising, then just jump and ship.
Oh, that is my next question. How are you managing to write a blooming book in 10 days? Tell me.
Dictation.
I knew you were going to say that.
Dictation. And this is what I learned in Ireland. I learned this from in Ireland from one of the kind of crime authors there. But before then, I was writing a book in about 2-3 weeks, just typing. And I only work 4 days a week on the writing. So I'm only doing Monday to Thursday because I've got the grandkids on a Friday and we spend time with the family on Saturday and Sunday. So yeah, I can, but my books are novellas. So the 30 to 40,000 words. Apart from the Edinburgh File, they're about 50, 60, 70,000 words. But the rest are novellas. I love writing novellas and people love reading them, although a lot of people complain about they're too short. I don't care. There's more lovers than there are haters of it. And because the sense of achievement when you finish a novella or you finish a 200,000 word book is exactly the same feeling. So why not write 10 novellas instead of that 200,000 word tome of a book? And that's what I prefer. And I love it.
Yeah, I agree, actually, because my first Witchlit series, they're only 60,000 words. Yeah. And now I'm writing this Celtic fantasy series. They're bloody 120,000 words a book. Yeah. I know. So that sense of, like, as you say, that sense of completion takes a bloody damn sight longer.
It does.
So that's why I'm itching to get back to shorter books, because I think that, yes, it's going to work better for me, because by that time, once I finish that trilogy and got it out, sort of, and maybe this time next year, then I'm going to be in full marketing mode. I'll be much more familiar with what I need to do to systemize my marketing and be successful at it. And by that time, I can then bring in those shorter books and boost the boost the sales that way as well. You know, that's what I'm imagining anyway. I don't know.
Well,
But,
the longer books that you've got are going to do really well on Kindle Unlimited because you're getting the page reads. So that's a good thing about the longer book. That's a huge bonus about the longer books.
Yeah. So an author friend of mine asked me to ask you this question, so I'm going to ask you: how does an indie author get a series off the ground at the moment? Because especially as ads are, I don't know a lot about ads, but I know that I'm hearing a lot of people talking about ads being difficult, ads, you know, with no email list maybe, and with the social media platforms being kind of inconsistent. So how does somebody do that? I mean, you know, what would you say?
What I would do is if they're going to write a series, write the first 3 books and do not bother about them, publish them. And don't care about it until the 3rd book. So the 3rd book's published and you're starting to write your 4th book. So on your 4th book, put up a pre-order for your 4th book, say 6 months in advance or a year, however long you think you're going to take it or take to write it. Put it up as a pre-order and then start to advertise the 1st book in your series. And that's all you do. Do not talk about your 2nd book. Do not talk about your 3rd book. As long as in your 1st book, you have a link to your 2nd book, 2nd book link to your 3rd link to the 4th, and keep on going that way. Don't bother about trying to make money from them. On your 1st book, you can advertise to it as soon as you publish it, but you're advertising for reviews. You're never going to make a profit. Well, you might make a profit, but more than likely, you're not going to make a profit as long as you know you're advertising for reviews only, because people need social proof. If you've not got any social proof, you need at least, I would say, 100 reviews of 4-star and above. You can make a load of money from books that are 4-star and above, a load of money. So you need the 100 kind of reviews, because psychologically, 3 number, and you see it. If you go to a book that's got no reviews and go to a book that's got 100 reviews, kind of similar, you're probably going to buy the book that's 100 reviews or even 10 reviews. But you're advertising for reviews for your 1st book. Don't advertise for profits. And then once you've done your 3rd book, you're advertising for profit, because you want the read-through rate from book 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and keep on doing it that way. And that's it. Advertise. You don't need any social media marketing. You don't need to do it. Literally, you don't need to have a social media presence, and you can still make money through the advertising. But the beauty of advertising is you can build up a social media presence because of your advertising. Somebody sees your ads, they like your ad, they click on, they like your book, and they buy it. They're going to come back and once they see you again, and they're going to join your Facebook page, or they're going to join your Facebook group because of that ad. So your ads are doing the kind of social media stuff for you as well, building it up for you as well. So if you look at it from that point of view instead of the other way about, then advertising is literally all you need.
It's a good perspective. Where did you learn all this? Did you, because you can't have just learnt it by yourself, surely. You must have had people that you learnt from along the way.
Oh, definitely. Oh, there's loads of people. So I used to watch, before I became an author, I was obsessed with indie authorship. Because I was still in business. I thought, I'm not going to start it just now, but I'm going to learn about it. When I want to learn something, I get obsessed with it. And when I become obsessed with it, I know I'm going to do well at it. So and I'm obsessed with kind of AI stuff, just AI marketing, not AI writing, AI marketing. So I know I'm going to get good at that as well. But before, in 2018-19, I watched, there was author podcasts, six-figure author. There's about four interviews I remember from Amanda Lee, who's a witchy writer, from Craig, I can't remember his name.
Martell?
No, it's not Craig Martell. Craig Faulkner, the UFO guy. He's run UFOs. There's a Scottish author, and I listened to his interview about 10 times. All these, I became obsessed with it and thinking, how do you learn story structure? What do you do for the marketing? Even before 3 years before I became an author, I was obsessed with it. And that's where I learned Steve Higgs as well. Amazing. He's written 150 books and he's on 7 figures a year. And just go, how do they do that? So I don't want to learn from somebody that's making £10 a month. You have to learn from somebody that's making 7 figures a year, see what they're doing and just learn from them. And that's the best place I think you can learn. And going to conferences, speaking to other authors, in the bar is where you're going to learn everything, not in the actual talks. In the bar, when you're sitting down, talking to people, that's where you're going to learn stuff.
Yeah, I must admit, I hadn't been to a conference for quite a few years, but Ireland, we thoroughly enjoyed Ireland. It was just so, it was amazing. It was really amazing. And yeah, I'd love to do more really, but it's just getting to that stage where you feel like you're creating, you know, you've got some momentum
yeah,
with income, because I've been faffing around for quite a few years, not seriously taking the marketing and the business side as serious as I should do.
Yeah.
But you know, things happen. You know, we've had children, and also Ian and I are musicians, so we've got that side of what we do. We're musicians, so we've got like the festival season coming up now. We've got a band, you know, and that's magical stuff. So it all kind of fits under the banner of magic, you know, and it's great, but it takes you away, it dilutes your energy and your time a little bit.
What happens, and this is part of the magical process as well, and part of the kind of Wiccan kind of way as well, what you focus on grows. Yeah. If you focused on the advertising and the marketing, you get better at it, you get quicker at it, and it would start to grow much exponentially because you're focused on it. Once you kind of dilute that away with the other things, then it diminishes, and that's fine. If that's your life, that's cool. But if you really want to grow as an author and make money from this, is just focus. It's more focus.
Yes, yes, and that is the skill of the magician, is it not?
Exactly.
It is. It is. Oh wow, it's been amazing chatting to you, and I knew it was going to be good fun anyway, but I didn't realize, well, I kind of had a feeling that we had quite a lot in common.
Yes,
you know,
definitely.
the ways that we think, and I'm thinking now, well, if he can bloody do it, you know, if he can do it. Exactly, because sometimes people kind of make those sweeping statements about things like, well, I can, you know, if I can do it, then anybody can do it. And sometimes I find myself thinking, hang on a minute, you haven't got my life. You know, we've all got different circumstances and you know, draws on our energy, and everybody's circumstances are different. But I think that when you speak to somebody and everything they say resonates, you know, and like as you say, 100%, I know that it's about focus. I know that, you know, if I want to grow anything, then, you know, you've got to put your attention on something, and it with intention, you can change any energy at all. You know, you can transform energy with intention. So with those two things, attention and intention, that's all you need, isn't it, really? Sounds easy, doesn't it?
That's it. I should have said that at the very beginning.
That's it. Yeah, we did it. Yeah, we've been over in 5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Stephen, where can people find your books and you online?
The books, they're just going over to Amazon, just typing in The Witches of Scotland. That's the best place. And Facebook, just type in Steven Aitchison author, and you'll find my Facebook page. I think we've got 10,000 followers now. So that I just post on there regular. But I'm on TikTok. If you're an indie author, I'm on TikTok. I've got Substack, Indie Author Secrets. But I don't really push that. I don't promote it. If you join, you were meant to join. So it's just like one of those kind of things. I just love doing it. So yeah, probably the Facebook page would be the best.
Okay. So you're just on Amazon, are you? You don't sell direct, or you're not wide or anything?
Nope.
Oh, can I just ask you why that is?
I think it's the case of you don't bite the hand that feeds you. Because I first started making money with Amazon, I thought, oh wow, that I can actually become a full-time author doing this. And I've stuck with them ever since on Audible, on my ebooks. I'm exclusive with them. Your paperbacks you can have on Ingram Spark as well if you want. You can do that. You can sell them direct, but it's too much energy. I'm diluting my energy away from kind of what I'm focused on, is the writing and the marketing and the advertising. So I don't tend to sell direct too much. So yeah, I just love Amazon. I think they're an amazing platform for authors. A lot of people don't like them. That's made me a lot of money. It's got to me where I am today, so I love it.
Yeah, wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah, that's interesting. Brilliant. Okay. Well, I wish you the best of, not that you need it. You don't need any luck. Luck is I don't really believe in
You
luck
create your
anyway,
own
do
luck,
you?
you know, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We create our own luck. And you clearly are doing a great job of that, you know, with your track record and what you're doing at the moment. And I can only see a brighter than brighter future ahead for you.
Hopefully.
But I'm sure you predicted that anyway.
Yeah. We'll get a film out. That'll be the next thing. We'll get the film out.
Yeah.
Once that comes out, that'll be brilliant.
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful if your series made a screenplay, made it to
I
the
was talking about it.
screen?
I'm working with somebody just now on it.
Really?
Yeah, that was
Are
the
you
next
really?
manifestation. Yeah.
Oh wow!
We'll see what
Watch
happens.
this.
Fingers crossed. I know.
Watch this. Watch this space, because there's not enough. I don't think there's not enough. There isn't enough witchy, magical stuff on the telly.
Every time I take Netflix, I'm always looking for The Witcher and stuff like that. But there's no fantasy, real good fantasy. Well, there is loads of stuff, but it's all older, so they need to make more, definitely.
Definitely, yeah. Oh well, wishing you all the best with that. Amazing.
Thank you very much, and you as well with yours. Honestly, if you need a hand with anything, just give me a wee shout, Sheena, because you'll be brilliant. You're brilliant on camera. You're brilliant at talking. You'll kill it if you just kind of focus on it, like you said.
Okay, thank you. I'll take that as a plus.
Definitely.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's encouraging. Thank you.
My
and yeah, I'll see you on Substack, because I'm going to join your newsletter.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. So thanks very much, Stephen. And
thank you, Sheena.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out. I know you're busy, and but it's been great. So thanks.
Yeah, it has been. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You take care as well.